what's going on, everybody? I know it's been a while since I posted, and I apologize for that. It's been a lot going on. I know that if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I had identity theft happen to me and struggled with that for quite some time. And I kind of got through that. I think that we're on the safe end of that. And then my wife has had some health problems. That's kind of affected things. And then the icing on the cake was the company I work for, a medical company, decided to go bankrupt and not pay anybody. Yeah. So we went close to 4 weeks without any pay. And that was very stressful. Do you stick around or do you run, cut bait and run? There was a lot of promises of a new company coming in to take over and pick up the slack and start you up right away and get paychecks rolling. But we went a long time working, not knowing if we were going to get any pay. Because the company that went bankrupt, Yes Care is what it's called, was making promises, and as soon as we file bankruptcy, we're going to use the money that's in reserve to take care of payroll. Yeah, they didn't do that. Chapter 11 is what they filed, which is kind of a restructure. This Yes Care company was a company that does contracts for jails and prisons doing medical services, and they're in 9 different states and 38 different jails or prisons. And last I heard, they're in 2 or 3 states and about 7 prisons or jails. That's how much they downsized. Yeah, so the Chapter 11 happened, and we just all of a sudden didn't get a paycheck. The day it was due, it didn't show up. And then we got a notice at the end of the day that they were filing the bankruptcy, and a bunch of promises about how they're going to try to take care of everybody, and didn't get anything. So you want to talk about stress in your life. First, I had the issue of identity theft and trying to save and preserve everything that I have. Then all of a sudden, no income. And where's it going to come from? Yeah, very stressful. So I'm going to give you a little bit more detail about that here in a minute. But I just wanted to kind of let you know what's been happening, because freak out. I mean, I did have some faith that it was going to be okay eventually, and the city that owns the jail did step up really well, and they did an instant contract change within like a week, 2 weeks time frame, which normally takes 90 days to switch over to. Shit. The city stepped up. They they did a really quick contract change. Something that normally takes 90 days, they did in like 1 to 2 weeks. And they held back contract payment to Yes Care in order to give it to a new oncoming company so that they could pay us our back pay. Or they were going to pay us directly from the city to make sure people didn't cut bait and run, which a few did. And I know that other cities not too far away didn't do that for their people. And they worked for a significant amount of time with no pay, the ones that stayed, until the new contract came available. And a new company did come in, and They stepped up and they took that money from the city and they cut us all checks. Unfortunately, they didn't have any of our payroll information, so everybody got taxed about 30%. Yeah, so it wasn't exactly what we were expecting, but we did get some back pay that we were waiting on. So we were a few weeks. So basically, you get paid, and then 2 weeks later, you get paid, and then 2 weeks later, you get paid. Well, we got paid, and 2 weeks later, we didn't get paid. And then 2 weeks later is when we got the first little bit of money. And everybody's checks were either short on hours or overtaxed. And even without deductions or anything, even if they calculated your hours correctly, it was still less because they taxed the bejesus out of us. And nobody has gotten any paid time off or PTO hours, sick leave hours, or anything. And then, of course, our benefits ended within a week or two of all that. The premiums were paid to the end of the month, and the end of the month was only a few weeks away. So the new company is starting up benefits, but they're not the greatest. So they say they're working on it to get something better going. So yeah, it's been an interesting turn of events. Needless to say, when the company you work for goes bankrupt, you have a few options. You can try to stick it out because there's promise of a new company coming in, or you can cut bait. But if you haven't been looking for a job, it's not always easy to just turn around and get another good job. You get a job, but you might not be making the same money, getting the same hours, have the good schedule or anything like that. You might not have as good of benefits. You might not have whatever. And you still have to find somebody that's hiring, apply, get a call back, do an interview, get accepted, do orientation, paperwork, training, all that stuff before you even start on the paycheck. And that could be weeks or longer. And so I took the chance of sticking it out where I was at, and it paid off, and I'm glad. And I knew that the city and the jail itself that I work at cannot afford to not have medical staff. They're not going to let us just walk away. And they can't just keep begging and pleading, because you cannot have inmates in a facility without adequate medical care. And there's some people in there that need medical care. They need life-saving medications. And the officers can't administer that stuff. And they definitely can't care for them, especially ones that are in poor condition. So I knew something was going to happen quickly. And it did, luckily. Because the alternative was trying to find another job that I might not even be happy at. So I did what I thought was the smartest move. All along, the thoughts racing through my head, like, what's going to happen? Am I going to fall behind on my house payment or my RV payment or lose my insurance or whatever? I mean, like, I don't know when I'm going to get my next paycheck, and that's stressful. And all of that, is going to affect everything, my retirement. Trying to retire early. I can't fathom doing that without having an income, right? So, it was a freak out session for sure. But I can report to you that things are back on track. We did get a few paper checks, so you got to run to the bank and deposit it, or take a picture of it and deposit it and things like that. Now everything's set up through the bank, the direct deposit and all that stuff, and the benefits and all those things are going now. So I finally have a moment to take a breath and just be like, damn, that was stressful, and I feel like everything's going to be okay. Does this ever happen to you before? Have you ever been in that kind of position? Um, Sometimes when the fit hits the shan, you freak out a little. And I've been pretty known to keeping my calm. And inside, and here, I was stressing out pretty good. But I have a wonderful support, my family and my wife especially, who is my partner in life and in crime if I wanted her to be. So she had my back no matter what I decided to do, sticking it out or trying to find something else. And she said, we'll make it. We'll figure it out. We always do. We'll do what we have to do to survive. And luckily, it didn't come to that. But it's great having somebody that's got your back, that says, regardless of what happens, we're going to figure it out. And, whatever you want to decide or whatever we decide, we'll do it together. And having that is priceless. You can't put money on that. You can't put anything on that. As having a partner in life that is supportive, and that helps guide you to make the right decisions, becomes a moral compass, or puts you in your place when you need it. That's priceless. It's a great thing. So my wife Jody is phenomenal in so many ways, and I probably don't tell her enough. So hopefully she watches this and she knows. But I think she knows how much I value her and our relationship. So yeah, it's been interesting time frame, to say the least. And of course, it's the peak of the summer, so I got 39 projects I'm working on. Getting the pool ready, and put together patio furniture, and working on the riding mower. Trying to get that thing fixed. It hasn't ran in 2 years, and I was like, Jesus, it just never ends. Even all my days off, and I don't have any time to do anything. Yeah. All right. So that was a lot to unpack. Bottom line is although the company went bankrupt, Chapter 11, now Chapter 7, and 90 plus hours of PTO are gone. The new company stepped up. Benefits are starting immediately. They're going to give us some PTO, not what we lost. And we're getting regular paychecks again. Thank God, because you want to talk about stressing out. I mean, everything can go to hell in a handbasket really quick. But I appreciate you sticking around to watch the video. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, because I'd be happy to answer them, and see what your thoughts are on this, if it's ever happened to you before. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get a few more videos out here in the next couple of weeks. So keep watching and let me know what you want to see. I mean, I just got done working on my riding mower. You don't want to see that, do you? But I got it going, and I'm actually able to mow, so that was fun. Projects around the house typically take up a good amount of my time, and just getting ready for life. So holler at me and let me know what you want to see video-wise. Appreciate it.